If you can proceed with the agenda. Oh, Commissioner Vishal is here. Thank you.
All right, please let me know when you can see the agenda. Can you see the agenda?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. It's 7:01, and we're meeting via teleconference Zoom, and you may watch the meeting without providing public comment through Facebook, YouTube, or the web streaming that was published. Oral public comments may be provided live during the Community Advisory Commission meeting by first registering to the Zoom meeting. We will start the meeting by having a call to order to our meeting. And let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Casanova, do you want to honor us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure thing. Should I start?
Yes, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which stands one
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Thank you. So we're going back to our agenda, and I'm going to take roster. I'm present. Commissioner Tron. Commissioner Tron, are you present?
She's on mute.
Sorry, Oscar, I'm here, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Batillo.
Present.
Commissioner Carapulcar resigned. Commissioner Rosario. Commissioner Rosario, I saw you before. Can you?
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Okay.
you. Commissioner Gandhi.
I'm here, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Thorn.
I'm here.
Thank you. And in this case, Commissioner Casanova.
Here.
As an alternate, you're going to be a voting member today.
Okay.
And Commissioner Sridhar, she's absent. She presented her written excuse. Thank you. So we are going to go to, as I mentioned it, the alternate in this case, we're seating Commissioner Casanova as an alternate. We're going to move to the approval of the agenda. Anyone wants to move to approve the agenda?
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda of April 7, 2021.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Tron. Anybody who want to second it?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rosario. Commissioner Casanova, we're going to start voting. Commissioner Casanova, you vote yes or no?
Vote yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Song.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Gandhi,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Batillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Tron, you make the motion, and myself, yes. The agenda has been approved. Now we're going to move to approve the minutes of the meeting on March 3rd, 2021. Anyone wants to make a motion.
So this is Commissioner Gandhi. I'll make a motion to pass the meetings from the previous meeting, which held on March 3rd, 2021.
Thank you very much. Anybody wants to second it?
I will second it.
Thank you. We're going to vote. Commissioner Casanova,
Yes, I approve.
Commissioner Song,
Yes,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandhi was presented, Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Batillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Tron seconded, and myself, yes. Thank you. We're going to go to public forum. Interested public members may provide comments to the commission on any subject not on the agenda via Zoom. Commenters may state their name and address for the record and shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less as determined by the chair. As an agendized item, no response is required of the commission or city staff. However, the commission may request staff to agendize the item for a future meeting. Do we have any public forum?
Yes, we do. We will allow Jackie Romero.
Thank you.
And if Miss Romero, if you could just wait until the time, we're going to place a timer up on the screen here in just a second, if you wouldn't mind just waiting.
Thank you for the time. My name is Jacqueline Romero, a resident from Milpitas since 1983. I was a student for or at Milpitas High School, and through the Milpitas Unified School District. Since that time, I now have 2 students at the high school. I represent many students that are struggling in silence. And the reason why I'm reaching out to this organization or this commission is because I'm wondering what the commission is doing to help reopen schools. I'm a lead advocate for the Milpitas Parent Coalition, and we have had students come forward and parents come forward in regards to the reopening of schools and how it was done without the equality in place. We've reached out to the school board and no response to that. And so I'm reaching out to the community advisory to find out what can you guys do to help bring equality back to the school district. You have 7th and 8th graders that have not been able to even have the opportunity to go back to school. You have 9th graders that were chosen to go back to school. And if you had 3 or more failing classes, then you were allowed to go back to school. And only if there was room, then the waiting list would be used to accommodate those that were on the waiting list. The way that the school district worded the letter to the parents, it was very ambiguous and unclear. And a lot of parents have come to us since then saying that they would want their kids to come back, but it was not written in a way that was desirable, meaning the way that it was written didn't fulfill the need of the student. Going to school twice a week for 90 minutes was not enough. And so we're asking if you would kindly help to reopen our schools for everyone that wants to go back. And to remember the students that are struggling in silence, that don't have representation. These are the people that we want you all to help us get the resources that they need to be successful and to be thriving members of our community. Thank you much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Romero. Any other comments?
There are no other public comments at this time.
Thank you very much.
Get the agenda back up for you in a second. Okay.
Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Batillo?
Yes, so since we can't do anything about the public comment at this point, is it the point right now that we can put that into agenda next week, next meeting?
If you would like for that to happen, we need to have a motion, and we can put it on the agenda for next meeting.
I would just remind the commission that next month is our Affordable Housing and Building Safety Month community event over
Okay.
Zoom. So if possible, if we could defer a potential agenda item to a future agenda beyond May, that would be appreciated.
That would be great as well, to give us time to communicate with the Milpitas Unified School District and the board, the MUSD board. So not in May, but in June. May I
Yeah.
make a motion that we can put this in agenda to review what it is the Unified School District has planned for our students in our school in June?
Do we need a motion, Robert?
I believe we could put it on in a future agenda item. I don't believe we need
Yes.
a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We'll put it, Commissioner Batilo, we'll put it in our agenda for our future meeting.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to announcements.
There are no announcements at this time.
Thank you. I know we have a really busy agenda. I know that we all are hoping to finish on time, so we need to keep moving forward. Business items. Please, Robert, can you guide us through the Cdbg presentation?
Not a problem. Just give me 1 second. All right. All right. So we should see a non-full screen, and then in a second I will make it a full screen. So just give me 1 second here. And let me know if that's full screen on your end, Chair.
Yes, it is.
Great.
It is.
Okay. Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening for our Community Advisory Commission CDBG discussion for fiscal year 21-22. My name is Robert Musalam. I'm the Housing Authority Administrator. Also presenting tonight is Sarah Court, who many of you have been corresponding with in regards to CDBG. She is going to start off our presentation, but I'm just going to kind of give an overview of the agenda. It's the same agenda that we have on the actual agenda, but we will be going through the results of the community needs survey, followed by a staff presentation just quickly to show you the simplified application submissions. And then at that point, we will go to our prospective applicants who are on this call, and they'll be invited to give comment about why they think their agencies should be funded. And then we'll conclude with the commissioners taking turns providing feedback on the priorities and areas they believe the City Council should focus on funding. I will note that because we do have 4 agenda items, that public comment is allowed for the respective agenda item after each item. And before we proceed to the next item, that will be open for members of the public who are not presenting. So at the end of each agenda item, we're going to go through one giant presentation. But at the end of each section, we will pause for public comment. At that point, you are allowed to raise your hand and make comments only on the agenda item that was just discussed. So with that, I will turn it over to Sarah for the first part of this presentation.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Sarah Court. I'm a housing planner with the City of Milpitas, and been working with Robert and Sharon and our team on the CDBG allocation process this year. So as you know, we kind of kicked off the process for fiscal year 21-22 by putting out a CDBG community needs survey, which was intended to gather feedback about where the community thinks that funding should be prioritized in the upcoming fiscal year. And we kind of created it based around our consolidated plan, which is a 5-year plan that was created by the city with our funding priorities. So we had a really great turnout for our community survey. We received 87 survey responses, and the visual that you see up here kind of breaks down how the people who took the survey kind of identified themselves as. So, you know, a large number identified as Milpitas residents. We had some business owners and nonprofit service providers reply, and then we had 4 responses from community advisory commissioners. You know, we could have received more than 4 commissioner responses, but only 4 identified themselves on the survey as a commissioner. So that is the breakdown of who completed the survey, and then we were able to gather, you know, specific results based off of each category in the survey, which we'll get to on the next slide. So the Community Development Block Grant typically allocates available funding into 5 broad categories. So we asked that those who completed the survey kind of rank where they thought the highest priority should be within the 5 broad categories. So as you can see, public services ranked the highest, followed by economic development, public improvements, community facilities, and housing. We then went on to kind of break down, you know, potential projects within each of those broad categories. So as it relates to housing issues, maintain and preserve existing housing ranked the highest priority, followed by affordable housing, rental rehabilitation, and construction of new affordable housing. As it relates to public services, we saw, you know, the highest priority for services and programs for children and youth, followed by residents at risk of eviction, programs for seniors, victims of domestic violence, and then other community funding and public services for low and moderate income residents, which kind of include every other specific category of public services. For economic development, we saw the highest priority for job creation and retention, followed by small business loans to new and existing businesses, and then micro enterprise development. For community facilities, the highest priority ranked was parks and recreational facilities, followed by senior center or teen center, community center, and other similar facilities, and then accessibility improvements. For public improvements, we had street and sidewalk improvements rank highest, followed by streetscape improvements, including lighting, and then accessibility improvements. The last kind of ranking question that we posed to the survey respondents was in regards to Cdbg CV funds, which is kind of an additional pot of money that we received, for which the funds must go to projects that prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. So we asked for those specific projects to be ranked, and we saw that food distribution was the highest priority there, followed by services for isolated seniors, rent relief assistance, sanitation services for the unhoused, PPE and safety supplies, and domestic violence prevention and response. So after each of those ranking questions that we put on our survey, we had a couple of open-ended questions to which the respondents could kind of elaborate on areas that they believe are the highest priority in Milpitas, and anything that they felt might be missing or not captured within the survey. The open-ended questions allowed for, just, a response as long as you would like to give. And we got some really great feedback from those open-ended comments. So we kind of summarized them and broke them down by category, the categories that we went over previously in the survey. So we, for housing issues, we saw a lot of responses that were to provide housing for the homeless and services such as cooling centers or shelters, and just more affordable housing in general, specifically to serve those individuals who are experiencing homelessness. There were a lot of responses that correlated to the category of public services. A lot of responses that highlighted the need for services for individuals with developmental disabilities, assistance for residents facing eviction, childcare and after-school programs, internet access, and limiting the digital divide, making sure basic needs are met for unhoused residents, including safe parking for the unhoused. We had some specific requests for, partnerships such as Scouts and Eagles, increased access to food and clothing, mental health, domestic violence prevention, and racial justice, implicit bias awareness and training, assistance for individuals who need help with immigration or citizenship, and foster children advocacy and assistance programs, and public safety and crime prevention. So those were kind of the general responses that we saw under the public services section of the survey. For economic development, we saw some responses who were in support of helping small businesses. For community facilities, maintaining the trails in Milpitas and developing more recreational facilities. A lot of responses about under public improvements relating to neighborhood beautification and kind of keeping things clean in Milpitas, improving Main Street, transportation, like adding more bike lanes and planting more trees. And as it relates to COVID-19 response, increasing access to PPE, increasing COVID testing sites, and more assistance for those who test positive or are at higher risk when it comes to COVID-19. So that kind of wraps up the responses that we got from our CDBG community survey. We were really happy to see such a great turnout on our survey, and we think that we got some really good feedback and ideas of how funding should be prioritized this fiscal year, and we think it'll be a great tool as we move forward with the applications that we received. So I'm just going to provide kind of a general overview. With all of those responses, we just wanted to provide a little bit more information about what projects and applicants, the general requirements for those projects, should they be funded by CDBG. So the first one is that each activity must benefit one of the national objectives outlined here. So there are 3 national objectives. A benefit to low and moderate income individuals is, I believe, every application that we are going to be, reviewing today would fall under this national objective to benefit low and moderate income individuals. Preventing slum and blight, there has to be specific areas in Milpitas that would qualify. So we didn't have any applications that would qualify under slum or blight. And then urgent need is more so like a natural disaster. And it's important to note here that COVID-19 actually is not considered an urgent need by HUD. So like I said, all of our applications that we received for this fiscal year, they did target the low and moderate income national objective. So in addition to meeting a national objective, Each application has to ensure, or each project has to ensure that at least 70% of the expenditures will go to benefiting low and moderate income residents, since they do fall under that national objective. Costs also have to be necessary and reasonable, which is determined, during the billing cycle. Each quarterly report, we review and ensure that costs are necessary and reasonable. So that's something we like to just kind of present upfront as a requirement for CDBG sub-recipients. And if you are applying for COVID-19 funds, the project must prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. So we've shown this list before, but we just like to give some examples of eligible activities. I won't read through them all. I've been reading a lot of lists, but just some things that we typically fund are public services, such as services for seniors, services for victims of domestic violence. We have funded micro enterprise and small business assistance, a number of capital projects to make improvements to public facilities, and COVID-19 activities that respond to the coronavirus. And lastly here, there are many responsibilities of sub-grantees in order to comply with the CDBG grant. You must be able to front the cost of service delivery for the program activity, because CDBG is a reimbursement-based grant. So as I mentioned before, we reimburse quarterly for expenses, but you do have to be able to kind of provide or front the cost of service delivery for the program you're applying for. You must be able to provide required insurance documentation. So we have to collect a number of insurance documents for our finance department, and so we'll be in communication should you be funded to get all of that required documentation. You must have systems in place to collect demographic information of all Milpitas residents that you serve, which includes income levels and race and ethnicity information. We are required to report this to HUD on a quarterly basis. So you, as a program recipient, you must have the means to collect that information about the individuals you're serving. You must be able to submit an invoice and quarterly report 4 times throughout the fiscal year. So we have certain timelines that we have to meet. So being able to meet those on your end is a requirement of a sub-grantee. And you must have the ability to attend city council meetings as necessary to discuss program activities and answer questions as needed. So we do have a couple of city council meetings coming up that you will likely be required to participate in. And I think at this point, we're going to pause. That's the end of business item A. So we'll open it up for public comments that relate to what we just went over as far as the CDBG Community Needs Survey and the general program guidelines.
There are no public comments at this time. So Chair, with your approval, we'd like to continue the presentation and move on to agenda item B.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, thank you, Sarah. So displayed on the screen is our timeline for the rest of the application process. We will hold a special meeting on April 19th to bring back a summary of tonight's discussion to the CAC. And then in May, the City Council will hold a public hearing to discuss CDBG and the recommended priorities. And finally, in June, the City Council will hold a public hearing to allocate the funding to the subgrantees. And it's not listed here, but just so the new applicants are aware, our fiscal year begins July 1st, 2021. Okay, so here's our allocation for the upcoming fiscal year. And just a note, there are two buckets of funding. Sarah kind of touched on this. The CDBG CV bucket must be allocated towards activities that prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. Our standard formula funds, which is just sort of our allocation that we would receive in a normal year, those can be allocated towards coronavirus related activities, but can also be allocated towards other non-COVID-19 related needs in the community. So the total funding available to allocate is $1,255,295. And so here are some high-level details about our applicants this year. We received 27 total applications, 4 of which are new organizations. Total of all requests equals over $1.8 million. So as I noted in the prior slide, we have 1.255 to allocate, and we have requests for over $1.8 million. We receive requests for public services, capital improvements, economic development, and fair housing. And finally, 15 of the projects have been identified as COVID-related activities. So the next 5 slides will display each of the applicants, and in the interest of time, I will pause on each for about 10 to 20 seconds. And staff will go ahead and email the CAC and all of the applicants a copy of this presentation in case they wanted to refer to something that we've discussed. So if I'm going too fast, don't fret. We'll send this out to everybody that's on this call. So as is common with most of our CDBG applications, a bulk of them have been public services, and especially given the pandemic, the need for public services has substantially increased. Here's a list of our capital projects for the year. Our economic development project applicants. And finally, our fair housing or program admin. For those who don't know, fair housing related activities are allowed under what HUD describes as program administration. So that's where we file it. Okay, so before moving on to the next section on our agenda, we will pause here for public comments related to section B of the agenda. And at this time, I do not see any hands raised. Here we go. We have one, Michelle Schroeder. And give us 1 minute if we can get Sophia, if you can please start the timer when Michelle speaks, and that would be greatly appreciated. So Michelle, I'm adding you in. I believe Sophia, let me know when the timer is ready. Great, thank you. Michelle, you there?
Yes, good evening. I'm here to speak on behalf of SALA, Senior Adults Legal Assistance. SALA provides free legal services to Milpitas residents 62 or older. We target clients that are low income or at risk of abuse, isolation, or loss of independence. Last year, 88% of the Milpitas seniors we served were very low income and 50% were 75 or older. Our current...
Forgive me, Michelle, I apologize. We will be granting opportunities for all of the subgrantees to speak in the next section. So I just want to be fair to everybody in the process. And we will allow you to speak during the next section of the agenda. Any discussion related to a specific application, we'll have to wait until the next section. So excuse me for interrupting there. We'll make sure that you have an opportunity to speak in the next section. I do have another public comment, so I'd like to go to Ms. Jackie Romero, and once the timer resets, we can go ahead and unmute.
Thank you once again. Sorry, I'm apologizing for the talking too fast before the timer went up last time. I didn't realize that I didn't hear that part of your request. So I want to apologize for that. But I also wanted to find out really quickly, or is this the group that is deciding who gets the grants? I just have a question. Sorry, I didn't catch that, if that was the responsibility of this committee or this commission.
Chair, if you're okay with my responding to the comment, I'm happy to.
Yes, go ahead, Robert.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. Just so we're clear, this body's responsibility is to provide recommendations to the City Council. The City Council is the only body at the city that can make the funding allocation recommendations, the final allocation recommendations on behalf of each applicant. So the CAC's role here tonight is to hear from the applicants and understand, what they are proposing for their respective applications, and then to provide a summary of their voice as a CAC to the City Council to aid them in making the final recommendations.
Awesome. Thank you for that and the transparency. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. So with that, we will move to agenda item C. And we have a list of applicants that we will be using to go through. And we will start with what we're going to do, just so everybody's aware, we're just going to go down the list of activities on the PowerPoint, and we'll just call each person, and then we will unmute you and you will have 2 minutes to speak. So just give me 1 second here. Okay, Catholic Charities, if you could raise your hand. Thank you. And we're going to go to Wanda. If we can get the timer, please, Sophia. And Wanda, if you unmute, you should be ready to go. Wanda, are you there? Wanda, we cannot hear you. We're gonna need you to unmute your microphone. Okay. We'll move on to the next one, and then we'll come back to you, Wanda, once we get your mic figured out here. So if I could have the representative from Child Advocates, please raise their hand. And Michelle, are you representing Child Advocates?
I am. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us this evening. My name is Michelle. I'm the Development Director here at Child Advocates of Silicon Valley. We are located in Milpitas and serve foster youth throughout the county of Santa Clara, including Milpitas. We, as an organization, we serve foster youth that are in the dependency system, youth ages 0 to 21 years of age, who have faced abuse, neglect, and or abandonment, which results in them being placed in the dependency system. Excuse me, sorry. As an organization, we recruit volunteers that are advocates to stand up, show up, and lift up the voices of these foster youth in the dependency court system, as well as the system as a whole. We do that through matching them with a trained volunteer advocate. The advocates help them navigate educational challenges, work with them to make sure that they're receiving the counseling and medical care services they need, and then also make sure that their voice is heard with the judge and the court system, ensuring that their wants and needs are known to the court so that they have a say in the placement decisions that are being made about them in their lives. We currently recruit and train over 500 advocates a year, and then we match those advocates with a youth that has similar interests and support them in advocating for those youth throughout the year. We have been a fortunate recipient of funding from Milpitas for the last several years, including this current year. And for fiscal year 22, we are asking for $12,500 to continue to support both the CASA volunteers, the court-appointed special advocates, as well as support them in their work with those foster youth that are in Milpitas. And that is all.
Thank you so much. We're going to go back to Wanda here. Hopefully we have fixed your mic issue. So I just unmuted you. I just brought you in. You'll still have to unmute. Wanda, when you're ready, please begin.
Okay. Thanks, Robert, and thanks, CAC. I would like to thank you for the past and future support of our program. The long-term care ombudsman are the advocates for your most vulnerable population in your city, those who are in long-term care.
And as you all have probably seen on the news this past year, our most vulnerable citizens were very affected by the pandemic. So our program, prior to the pandemic, we would visit all the nursing homes in your city and speak to all the residents in person. So, of course, at the beginning of the pandemic, in-person visits were well as the facilities. Midway through the pandemic, we began making in-person visits again. And of course, are discovering some unfortunate care issues out there. We also provide support for the facilities as well as residents concerning safety with COVID during this time. Also, facilities have just begun opening up again to visitors. So, of course, a lot of safety issues.
Thank you very much, Wanda. Really appreciate it. Next up is Life Moves. If the representative from Life Moves can raise their hand. Okay, Heather. And Heather, you should be good to unmute and go when the timer starts.
Hi, Commission. Good evening. My name is Heather Griffin, and I am from Life Moves. Life Moves is the largest provider of shelter and supportive services in San Mateo and Santa Clara County. And our mission is to provide interim housing and supportive services for homeless families and individuals to rapidly return to stable housing and achieve long-term self-sufficiency. We operate 24 facilities and service sites across the 2 counties. On any given night, we house more than 1,200 individuals, about 1/3 of whom are minor children. Last year, we provided more than 230,000 nights of shelter and returned more than 2,000 homeless individuals to stable housing. To review from our application, we have applied for $100,000 for capital improvements at Villa for exterior refurbishing and $40,000 in food costs for Santa Clara County shelters. And here's how Milpitas has benefited, or how Life Moves has benefited Milpitas in this last year. In fiscal year 20, Life Moves has served 73 residents of Milpitas in our Santa Clara County shelters and program sites. 64 clients were served in our shelters, including families with minor children at our Georgia, Travis, and Villa shelters. 9 other Milpitas residents were served in our safe parking program, our motel voucher program, and 1 each at the Gateway Fairground Shelter, the Opportunity Services Center in Palo Alto, and our rotating shelter in Palo Alto called Hotel de Zinc. Milpitas residents stayed a total of 4,168 nights in our shelters and other program sites. In addition to serving Milpitas residents in our shelter and program sites, in the last fiscal year, Life Moves served 84 Milpitas residents through the Emergency Assistance Network program, delivering more than $96,000 in financial support to individuals and families to prevent homelessness, including funds for rental assistance, security deposits, and credit.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you very much. Next up is Lighthouse of Hope Counseling Center. Could the representative from Lighthouse of Hope Counseling Center please raise their hand? Okay, I have a Gloria, if you just want to unmute and get started.
Hi, my name is Gloria Baxter, and I'm the Executive Director of the Lighthouse of Hope Counseling Center, which is located in Sunnyvale. However, we are currently using Zoom and telehealth to provide services to members of Santa Clara County, including Milpitas. We are providing low-cost counseling. And as a result of the pandemic, we have seen an increase in the numbers of individuals and families who are suffering with grief and loss because they had someone to die as a result of COVID. A lot of residents are suffering with depression and anxiety as a result of COVID. We provide, particularly to low and moderate income people, we use a sliding fee scale to serve those people who are not covered by general insurance. And we saw an increase in Milpitas residents. This is our first time applying. And the reason why we applied was because we saw an increase in Milpitas residents seeking services for outpatient counseling.
Gloria, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
done. I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I didn't know how to end that.
In these Zoom times, you don't know when a connection just drops. Thank you so much.
Right.
Okay, moving on to Milpitas Senior Center lunch program. Will the representative from Milpitas Senior Center please raise their hand? Okay, going to Mr. John Macon. John, there you go.
Yeah, see, Robert, I was going to combine I have the two programs, the senior nutrition program and the technology for seniors. Should we combine the time?
It's fine. We'll just reset it at 2 minutes. So just go ahead. Thank you, John.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners, Councilmember Chua, and staff. I'd like to provide a brief overview of two projects that are currently benefiting the Milpitas senior community, utilizing CDBG funding, and would continue to benefit the Milpitas senior community, especially as we transition from stay-at-home to more in-person senior services. Our first program is the Senior Nutrition Program. For fiscal year 2021, CDBG funding has allowed the Milpitas Senior Center to serve to-go lunch to seniors in excess of the 80 meals per day from the standing city and county of Santa Clara Senior Nutrition Program contracted partnership. From July 1st through March, over 26,700 total meals have been served during the pandemic to ensure food security to our seniors. Of these 26,700 meals, close to 6,000 meals have been provided to seniors from CDBG funding that have exceeded the 80 meals per day county contract. Additionally, this funding has supported door-to-door hot lunch delivery to Terrace Garden senior housing residents Monday through Friday, beginning February 1st, at an average of 80 to 90 meals per day. CDBG funding for fiscal year 21-22 would continue to provide food security to Terrace Gardens residents throughout the summer at a minimum and on-site at the Barbara Lee Senior Center for the entire fiscal year. Since March 17, 2020, 205 new participants have signed up for the Senior Nutrition Program at the Senior Center. Funding for 21-22 would provide continued support to the current to-go lunch service model as it transitions to a hybrid to-go and dine-in lunch service as the state and county loosens restrictions on gathering and dining protocols. The additional 205 new participants are forecasted to create an elevated need of hot meals to senior center participants once the COVID-19 issue subsides and more seniors become vaccinated. The CDBG request this year is for $100,000.
Thank you, John. And then you'll be the representative, obviously, for the other activity, the technology activity.
Yes, thank you. Yes, technology for seniors. So with fiscal 2021 CDBG funding, the Barbara Lee Senior Center initiated a technology for seniors program aimed at offering technology opportunities to Milpitas seniors in need.
John, I apologize. Can we get the timer going, Sophia, please? Okay, sorry about that, John.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, this is a laptop loaner program whose primary goals are to provide technology mentorship and training to between 25 and 35 Milpitas seniors at a minimum. To date, 24 participants have qualified for a Chromebook device as a loaner. Through an initial one-on-one orientation, as well as continued tech support and mentorship, participants benefit from learning different applications and programs to stay better connected to family, friends, and community resources. Fiscal year 2021 CDBG funding allowed for the purchase of new Chromebook devices used to serve technology for seniors participants. CDBG funding for fiscal year 21-22 would seek to advance technology training to the current cohort of laptop loaner participants, as well as provide onboarding training to a new cohort of participants as a program develops in year 2. Partners such as a New Vista, who specializes in technology training for seniors, could be enlisted to grow our seniors' comfort and aptitude in technology. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Up next is MUSD supporting student wellness. Could the representative speaking on behalf of MUSD please raise their hand? And looks like we have Nicole, and you can unmute.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Commission. Am I good to go?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank you all for taking time to hear our requests. My name is Nicole Stewart. I'm the School Link Services Coordinator and McKinney-Vento Homeless Youth Liaison, as well as Foster Youth Liaison for Milpitas Unified School District. All fancy ways of saying I'm the social worker. And my job is to connect our families in need with supports, as I have been doing for the last 4 years. The challenge this year, as you all know, is the pandemic, and we are just beginning to come back to in-person learning. And as I'm sure many of you are hearing, our children are struggling a little. So we want to provide support for them. This year, we've provided support for our McKinney-Vento families and made referrals to our county for supports. And a majority of those are Spanish-speaking families and youth. So what we're asking from the Commission and the City Council is support for a Spanish-speaking student wellness person to support our in-person learning. We provide, our Spanish-speaking families make up 58% of our McKinney-Vento homeless families and 63% of our referrals. And we have provided rent relief through SVILC and Your Wonderful City to 30 families, and of those 30 families, 27 of them are Spanish speaking. We do have Spanish liaisons in our district who do a phenomenal job of supporting our Spanish speaking families, but there are just too many. So we are asking support for an additional Spanish speaking wellness support. I also just want to share that we are creating a safety web for our students in Milpitas. I do work closely with SVILC. I've worked with Life Moves and referred families to their shelter, as well as CASA. I've worked closely with CASAs for foster youth in Milpitas to get them enrolled in school and make sure they have what they need. So we would appreciate this funding from the city, and thank you, Commission.
Thank you very much. Up next is the MUSD Teacher Student Mentoring Program. The representative for the Teacher Student Mentoring Program can please raise their hand. And we have Norma Morales. Norma, are you ready to go?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, members of the community and city staff. My name is Norma Morales. I am the Latino Community Liaison, secondary level for MUSD. I've been with them for 12 plus years. The reason we know this mentoring program is benefiting our high school students is because of the ongoing connection, persistence, and reaching out to them at a personalized level. The students feel that they are not only achieving academic success, but self-confidence. Some or most of our students before this program felt lost and disengaged. Now they're being engaged, logging into their classes and feeling a sense of achieving their academic goal and feeling more confident in themselves. Our mentoring program has taught our students time management, self-motivation, being more confident in themselves, teaching them how to navigate our academic system, computer skills, learning how to advocate for themselves, making connections with other students with similar backgrounds, feeling proud of who they are, and giving back to their teachers to better support them academically and more. Positive reinforcement has been key to their success. This has helped us find not only how their language barriers are affecting their performance, connection, and engagement. With this program, we have been able to connect these students that were in total disengagement for months. Now they are logging in every single day and excited to be in class. They know someone cares for them and they are performing better in their attendance and completion of their homework. They are learning. We are not only identifying academic barriers, we're also supporting emotionally and connecting them with outside resources for extra support. We are engaging not only our students, we're engaging their families, teachers, administrators, district administrators, and community. For their families, it has been very rewarding. Parents are learning how to support their students when it seemed impossible before this program started. This program will help at the same time implementing new supports for our students at risk, low-income refugee families. This program has created an impact that will last a lifetime. These funds will benefit our city by investing in our future leaders, and you can make an impact now in their lives that will last forever. One day they will come back to us and give back to the ones that we supported in our journey. Thank you so much for your consideration. Woo, barely.
Thank you very much, Norma. With respect, I do have another person who raised their hands to speak on behalf of this activity, but it is going to be 2 minutes per activity. So just wanted to, we connected with MUSD prior to this call. I know that there were a few folks that they had designated as speakers, but it will be one representative per application for 2 minutes each. So with that, we'll go to the L4L program for MUSD. Could the representative speaking on behalf of L4L please raise their hand? Thank you, Wendy. Oh,
hello.
Hi, Wendy.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Dr. Wendy Lundeen, and I'm a transitional kindergarten teacher at Rose Elementary. I'm here tonight to represent my team from the Milpitas Unified School District to share with you about our CDBG grant application. Families and students in our school district have been greatly impacted over the past year by COVID-19. Different groups of students within our district have been hardest hit by the pandemic, including our homeless population, our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and our English language learners. Data shows that these groups of students have historically started and fallen even more behind their peers academically. Our Extended Love for Literacy program would provide our students and their families with the opportunity to build a strong foundation in language, literacy, and mathematics, while also providing social emotional learning opportunities that they have missed due to the shift into distance learning. We recognize that working with families to create a partnership between the home and school is important. We plan to incorporate multiple opportunities to establish this partnership through the use of family workshops with various topics such as digital literacy and ways families can support their child at home. These workshops will provide the opportunity for families and teachers to learn more about each other through question and answer sessions. Our 5.5-week summer program would focus on students in grades kindergarten through 3rd grade. In order to create multiple learning opportunities, not only will we incorporate credentialed teachers, but we will also have college students and high school students assisting the teachers within the classroom. As we work with our students, families, high school and college students, we are working towards developing and inspiring future leaders within our community. We look forward to partnering with you so that we can help to close the opportunity and achievement gap for our students and families. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Next up will be Nextdoor Solutions to Domestic Violence. If the representative from Nextdoor could please raise their hand. All right, we have Jordan. Go ahead and unmute and begin.
Hi, I have 2 proposals this evening. So the first one will be our service proposal. So good evening, commissioners, staff, and friends. I'm Jordan Dancer, grants manager at Nextdoor Solutions to Domestic Violence. This year, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. The safety of victims and their children is our primary concern. As batterers isolate their partners, victims become increasingly vulnerable, be it socially, economically, their health and wellness, and in missed opportunities and advancement in life. We are requesting $20,523 to provide a range of support services to 50 survivors from Milpitas. Our services are at no cost, are at will, and provided by trained and certified advocates. Our crisis hotline is available 24/7 and answered by an advocate. The shelter next door is open 24/7, providing shelter, case management, and other support services. Average stay is 45 nights. Community and systems advocacy provides crisis intervention counseling, risk assessment and safety planning, legal advocacy, assistance with restraining orders, and when needed, referrals to our internal legal counsel. Support groups, currently 12 done virtually, are provided in English and Spanish, and also include specific groups for male survivors, LGBTQ survivors, and teens. Facilitators lead discussion on a series of topics like what is domestic violence, its effect on children, and groups also provide a larger circle of support, helping to increase resiliency, safety strategies, and the reduction of isolation. And through self-sufficiency case management, survivors work towards increasing or maintaining their level of self-sufficiency, focusing on 8 essential life domains. On average, 80% of shelter clients achieve one or more needs identified on their needs assessment. 93% of community and systems advocacy clients respond they've gained strategies to increase their and their children's safety. 72% of support group clients respond they're better able to manage stress when it occurs. And 35% of self-sufficiency case management.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll have to pause there for this particular activity. So I'll go ahead and unmute you again, and then you can go ahead and we'll reset the timer for your capital project.
I'm still Jordan Dancer, Grants Manager at Nextdoor Solutions to Domestic Violence. We are requesting $23,960 from the city to replace the flooring throughout our shelter next door. The shelter next door is open 24/7 and provides safe shelter, case management, and other support services to female victims of domestic violence and their children. Male survivors and any children are sheltered via hoteling. The shelter next door is housed in a building that is nearly 100 years old and is a confidential location. Over the century, the building has seen a lot of living. During the past 2 years, Nextdoor Solutions has been working towards completing a number of repairs and renovations to ensure that the shelter will continue to be there for many more years to come to assist those fleeing domestic abuse. Some recent repairs include renovation of the kitchen, foundation work, and repairing the driveway for better access to the chairlift so clients using a wheelchair or walker can access the first floor. For our requests, the flooring repairs include underlayment, vinyl and carpet flooring coverings, other materials and sundries, and labor including moving and resetting toilets, sinks, furniture, and appliances, and disposable flooring materials for the following areas: the kitchen and pantry, 4 bedrooms and closets, 3 bathrooms, staff office, and entryways, hallways, and storage closets. Nearly 200 adults and children receive shelter and support services each year, with an average of the households, be it a single or a family, staying 45 days. Last year, one Milpitas household of 1 adult and 2 children stayed 39 days at the shelter. During the last 3 years, on average, 12 residents have stayed 12 to 14 nights each, and all were of very low or extremely low income. So thank you for considering our application.
Thank you very much. Next, we will go to Pragnia. Could the representative from Pragnia please raise their hand? All right, Kishan, you should be able to unmute and speak when the timer goes.
Thank you, and good evening, and thank you, Commissioner, for listening to us, and thank you for putting this up and giving the opportunity to present our organization. We are applying for the grant for the first time, so we've been in existence in Milpitas for the past 2.5 years right now. We serve a population which has not been talked about much in all the presentation thus far. We serve a population which is of the special needs population, which I say the individuals with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities. We have been doing programs for families in Milpitas area with lower moderate income. We have programs for children, youth, adults, young adults, and adults as well. The need, of course, yes, COVID has hit everybody very bad, and impact has been, you're seeing everybody presenting on that, and especially with families, we have special needs children. It has been really severe because when they come back with all kinds of behaviors which are maladaptive. So we have different programs we've been doing. We've been currently supporting close to around 90 individuals here in the Milpitas area. And we are hoping to see if we can expand that because we have a lot of people asking for support for this particular space. Our enrichment programs actually work towards integrating them with the neurotypical world and getting them into the community with activities. And we are requesting for a funding of $40,000 so we can actually increase the capacity, because given that fund, we estimate that we can actually outreach to at least around 250 to 300 individuals. And we have around 70 individuals already in the wait list for our services. So that's about it. And thank you so much for considering our application.
Thank you very much. Up next is Sala. So forgive me earlier. Could the representative from Sala please raise their hand? Hello, Michelle. Welcome back. And you can unmute and you'll have 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I want to apologize for jumping the gun earlier. I am from Sala. Sala Senior Adults Legal Assistance provides free legal services to senior citizens in Milpitas and countywide. We are a current grantee, and we thank the City of Milpitas for your support. For next year, we are requesting $12,000 to serve 20 Milpitas seniors. At present, Sala provides services remotely and primarily by telephone. When in-person services can be reinstated at senior centers, it is our hope that Sala appointments will be available at the Barbara Lee Senior Center as they have been in the past. Legal assistance is a critical need for seniors, even, and I would say especially during the pandemic. At Sala, we are seeing clients with legal problems involving the public benefits they rely on to meet their basic needs, such as Social Security, SSI, Medicare, Medi-Cal. The agencies administering these benefits are closed for in-person assistance during COVID, making it difficult for older adults to resolve matters if they do not have internet access or digital skills. We see clients that are worried about being evicted. We see clients that need to do basic legal planning for incapacity or end of life. This is even more important during COVID if they are gravely ill and family members cannot be with them. We see clients that are victims of elder abuse. Many of these cases involve abusers living in the homes of our clients and sheltering in place with them during the pandemic. Sala cannot charge fees for our services or accept fee-generating cases. The primary way we support our services is through government grants. Your funding helps Sala provide the highest level of service possible. We hope we can count on your support again. And again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Sourcewise, Meals on Wheels. Will the representative from Sourcewise please raise their hand? Hello, Linda. Unmute and whenever you're ready.
Hi, good evening, commissioners, and thank you for having me. My name is Linda Phillips, and I am the Director of Community Development at Sourcewise. Sourcewise is a nonprofit area agency on aging. For over 47 years, we have been serving Santa Clara County's older adults, persons with disabilities, as well as their family and caregivers. We provide tools, education, and supportive services so they may effectively navigate their health and life options. We know that the pandemic has impacted our community's most vulnerable seniors. The Sourcewise Meals on Wheels program currently provides 1,300 homebound seniors aged 60 and older nutritious home-delivered meals. Seniors receive a total of 14 nutritious meals delivered once a week directly to their home, and there's no cost to the senior. Our proposed program will support up to 100 unduplicated Milpitas seniors aged 62 and older who are considered low income. To ensure there is no duplication in services, individuals must not be enrolled in other food programs. Sourcewise will market and outreach to promote the program to local senior centers, clinics, and community-based organizations in Milpitas. In response to the pandemic, Sourcewise has also developed our ambassadors program to provide wellness calls to homebound seniors in our Meals on Wheels program to ensure that they feel connected to the community and to prevent social isolation. We match caring volunteers with seniors who have requested weekly wellness calls. These volunteers commit to at least 1 hour per week for 2 months or more to help maintain stability and consistency with our seniors. Average calls last about 20 minutes or more. And these are friendly, casual conversations aimed at brightening their day. Volunteers also connect seniors to our information and awareness department should they need additional assistance to community resources. Thanks so much for your time and consideration, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Up next is Silicon Valley Independent Living Center. Could the representative from Silicon Valley Independent Living Center please raise their hand? Thank you, Sherry. And you can unmute and you should be good to go.
Great, thank you, Robert. Good evening, commissioners and city staff. My name is Sherry Burns, and I'm the Executive Director at Silicon Valley Independent Living Center, or SVLC for short. For 45 years, we have been providing no-cost independent living support for people with disabilities, including older adults with chronic health conditions. We offer 15 comprehensive self-sufficiency and support services, including housing services, which is our most requested service. SVLC has 2 CDBG grant applications for fiscal year 2021-22, one for continuing our housing education and search services, and the other for our rent relief program. We're extremely appreciative of the longstanding partnership that we've had with the City of Milpitas in supporting the self-sufficiency of some of its most vulnerable residents, including lower income, older and disabled adults, veterans, those fleeing domestic violence, and low-income Milpitas Unified School District families. We're on target to meet our rent relief goals for this year, already serving 185 low-income Milpitas residents, thereby keeping these families from losing their homes and being able to keep food on their tables. This year, we've also served 25 seniors and individuals with disabilities through our housing education workshop or individualized housing counseling. Training has been provided virtually this year due to the pandemic, but we look forward to being able to resume our housing workshops in person later this year at the Barbara Lee Senior Center. One school district family we helped recently is the BR family. This family has gone through much pain and stress during the past year. Both parents were laid off during the pandemic due to business closures, and then shortly thereafter, the dad felt extremely ill and had to be hospitalized. Their youngest son was also diagnosed with Terrace syndrome, and their self-storage unit was broken into and many items were stolen. This family's stress was extremely high, to say the least. The Milpitas Rent Relief Program was able to assist this family with 2 months of rent and case management support. We greatly appreciate your steadfast support of these 2 valuable programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Sherry, just to be clear, I know you spoke about both of those. Did you technically do have another 2 minutes if you wanted to speak for your other activity, but I'll defer to you. I just want to be fair.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, Robert. I think I was able to share enough information on both programs and highlighting them within that 2 minutes. That was good. Thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay, up next is Terrace Gardens Meal Delivery. Could the representative from Terrace Gardens please raise their hand? Hello, Marina. If you can unmute, and you have 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marina Sanchez, and I'm the property manager for Terrace Gardens Senior Housing, located here in Milpitas. Terrace Gardens, we're entering our 31st year in service, where we're able to provide low-income housing to 148 units and approximately 184 Milpitas senior residents. As part of our program, we also provide a very necessary daily meal to in our dining room 5 days a week to our residents. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we were forced to abruptly close our dining room and switch to a delivery system for all residents. The added expense of the takeout boxes for the food deliveries is $3,500 per month, as the food boxes must be of a certain quality due to the City of Milpitas' ban on styrofoam containers in 2018. This is an unfortunate additional cost prompted by COVID-19, which we simply cannot pass down to our residents, as 100% are low-income seniors who simply cannot afford to pay the additional costs at this time. Additionally, some funds will be allocated for PPE supplies for our property due to our increased cleaning and sanitizing schedule for the safety of our residents. We are requesting $65,000 for materials only for this project.
Thank you very much. Up next, actually, Marina, while I have you, did you want to do your capital project?
Yeah,
okay.
That would be great.
Great. We'll just go ahead and take care of that. Thank you. And whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you again, me again. Terrace Garden Senior Housing, we have in our community room, we have the original kitchenette, which was installed in 1985 when our property was built. Our community room is an essential location for our staff to host informative, fun, and teaching opportunities for our low-income senior residents, as well as to offer the room to our residents and community partners for hosting events such as church services and family gatherings. We are requesting funds to rehab the existing kitchenette so that way we can continue to offer these opportunities to our senior residents in an energy efficient and aesthetically pleasing environment. We are requesting $11,000 for material onlys for this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next is the Health Trust. Would the representative from the Health Trust please raise their hand? There's Teresa.
Hi, thank you very much, Robert, and the members of the commission. My name is Teresa Johnson, and I'm the director of the Meals on Wheels program for the Health Trust. We want to thank you for your time tonight and thank you for your past support. It means quite a bit to us. Just to give you a little bit of history over what's happened to us and our services during COVID is a year ago, prior to the pandemic shutdown, we were serving 1,700 meals a week. 3 weeks later, we were serving 9,000 meals a week. And by the end of June, we were serving 12,000 meals a week. So we had to completely look at how we serve our clients to get and to fall, keep up with the demand that's out there. We serve primarily seniors, and we provide them with either frozen or hot meals, depending on what they like. We also provide socialization services, home visits, phone calls from some of our staff and volunteers. We provide our clients with a handmade birthday quilt and some holiday gifts each year. Over the last 12 months, we've served 382,000 meals. Our largest number that we ever served in a year-long period prior to that was $107,000. What we found is that people have found these meal services, partly out of need of COVID, but they were always people that needed the services anyway. We are projecting to serve about 300,000 clients meals next year, and that's about 7,000 meals a week. We're asking for $20,000 to help us pay for our meal costs only for about 3,200 meals, and that will serve about 20 residents. In the last year, we've actually served 26 clients in Milpitas over 6,000 meals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And up next is Ywca Dv Services, Domestic Violence Services. With a representative for Ywca, please raise their hand. All right, I see Jason. Jason, just a quick question before you get started. Will you be doing both the Domestic Violence Services and the MUSD project as well?
Yeah, I'm going to do both.
Great. Okay. Just want to make sure you had 2 minutes for each, as much time as you need within those 2 minutes. Thanks.
Okay. And so I can just go right through both of them right now. And if it goes over 2 minutes, I have 4 total.
Yes, sir.
Right?
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll make sure to give you time.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. So again, my name is Jason McMonagle, and I'm speaking on behalf of Ywca Golden Gate, Silicon Valley. And thank you to the city of Milpitas for your support in the past and this opportunity to speak on our 2 applications. Ywca Golden Gate Silicon Valley is a multi-service organization in Santa Clara County, and our mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. In last fiscal year, we answered 4,100 DV and sexual assault crisis calls and provided crisis intervention, case management, advocacy, counseling and therapy, legal services, and emergency shelter and housing to over 2,600 survivors and their families all over Santa Clara County. For this Milpitas funding cycle, we submitted 2 applications. The first one that I'm going to talk about is we requested $40,000 for our school-based prevention team to work in the Milpitas Unified School District to provide primary intimate partner violence and sexual assault prevention education. We want to do that with 500 students in middle school and high school And we'll do that over the course of 75 teen empowerment presentations. These presentations include topics on how to prevent teen dating, violence, and sexual assault, understanding healthy behaviors and assertive communications, how to set boundaries and ask for consent, foster peer support, and practice safe bystander practices. The YWCA will also provide 100 students with a cyber safety program. The other program that we applied for or are requesting funding on behalf of is to provide residents of the city of Milpitas domestic violence support services. And these services that we would provide include a 24-hour support line, counseling support groups, therapy for adults and children, emergency shelter and motel, emergency response calls from law enforcement, medical advocacy, transportation, criminal justice, social service advocacy, support obtaining temporary restraining orders, and we would also offer court accompaniment services, household establishment assistance, we have licensed childcare, and a continuum of housing options. In addition, we receive redacted police reports from the Milpitas Police Department monthly, which makes it easy to connect with survivors directly. All core services are provided in Spanish and English, and we are proposing to pick up 100 police reports from the Milpitas PD to provide follow-up and connection services to survivors, and will respond to 40 crisis calls from Milpitas residents and serve at least 25 unduplicated survivors in total. And that is all that I have. So thank you all for listening to me and for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the YWCA.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have India Community Center. Could the representative from India Community Center please raise their hand? Good evening, Raj. You can unmute and begin when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Robert. Good evening, Commission. Thank you for having me here present to you all for the application that we've made. It's for a capital grant. India Community Center was established 18 years ago, based in Milpitas. We have a 40,000 square feet building and a second one, which is 20,000 square feet. We basically serve the community in a variety of activities, from kids in preschool and after school, as well as our seniors and adult programs. A lot of the programs relate to fitness and wellness, keeping the community safe and healthy in a meaningful way. We are a 501c3, not-for-profit, non-political, and non-religious. Over a year, we touch about 50,000 people at these facilities. Table tennis is a significant activity of ICC. Almost 75% of the Olympians that go to represent USA comes from the India Community Center. We've applied for a, due to COVID, clearly we've been closed for over a year, but our community has come forward to support us and see a better day in the coming months. We are seeking a capital grant to help us replace our front entry door, which is about 18 years old, and they're very heavy glass doors. And a lot of our seniors that we serve every day of the week find it very difficult to access our facility without seeking additional assistance from the receptionist or our facility staff. Automated doors would enable them to get access, whether they're in a wheelchair or not able to actually pull the door open. Certainly, we've been very appreciative of the city's help in the past, and this is a capital grant that we've applied for. Thank you so much for receiving our application.
Thank you very much. So next up is on my list is Life Moves. I know Life Moves spoke earlier. They did only use 2 minutes, so I want to give Life Moves an opportunity to speak for another 2 minutes on their second application within the rules here. So I'll allow Heather to come back on. If you have anything more to say, you have 2 minutes, Heather. Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much. I actually don't have anything further. I covered both in my first 2 minutes, but thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, up next, we have Rebuilding Together, Silicon Valley. So could the representative from Rebuilding Together please raise their hand? Hello, Deanne.
Hi there.
All right, you're good to go.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you about Rebuilding Together Silicon Valley. My name is Deanne Everton and I'm the Executive Director. For 30 years, we have transformed the lives of our clients and our communities by providing critical home repairs, which help to preserve affordable housing and home ownership and restore safe living environments. Our owner-occupied home repair, rehab, and accessibility program has assisted over 300 longtime Milpitas residents to remain in their home just within the last 10 years, with over 2,000 Milpitas homeowners identified as potentially eligible. These residents are often overlooked, older adults and people with disabilities who have a home, but life's difficulties have gotten in the way and their homes are now in disrepair. We make sure they have heat in the winter, hot water, safe electrical conditions, plumbing, and roofs that don't leak and cause more damage. Not to mention, we provide them the independence they deserve to get in and out of their home safely and move about their home without the fear of falling. 52% of our clients say it's easier for them to enter and exit the home as a result of our work. 1 in 3 of our homeowners say they now plan to age in place. And 90% feel less stressed about repairs and maintenance 6 months after receiving our services. We all know that this past year has caused a lot of stress for many of us, and certainly that's been the case for us, but we have persevered and we're working through all of the bumps that COVID has brought our way because our work has become more important than ever for so many whose homes have ironically become their safe haven. Our work preserves affordable homeownership, and we want to continue that work in partnership with the City of Milpitas. We thank you for your support over the years, and we're hopeful that we can continue this partnership in years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Up next is Enterprise Foundation. Could the representative from Enterprise Foundation please raise their hand? All right, Dennis, I just added you. Go ahead and unmute and speak when ready.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, commissioners and staff. My name is Dennis King. I'm the director of the Enterprise Foundation. It's a 501c3. We host the Small Business Development Center, which is the largest federal program to help people start and grow their businesses. Our partner locally is the County of Santa Clara. And so on behalf of the County of Santa Clara and the Small Business Administration, we've provided a wide variety of services to help businesses continue during this pandemic. Last year, we were invited to participate with the City of Milpitas to facilitate a grant program of totaling about $190,000 of grants of $5,000 each to 38 businesses in the City of Milpitas, which we did. And we also provided wraparound services to help them in other ways to be able to survive this pandemic and continue their operations for the future. Our services we're particularly focused on have been in marginalized communities. We provide our services in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Mandarin, and other languages to the small businesses who are the cornerstones of our community. We've been asked if we could do the same thing this year, and we've begun this process, and we'll look forward to seeing if we're going to be able to continue. We have certainly enjoyed the partnership of Milpitas in the past. It's a very special place for us. We hope that we're going to be able to continue to do the same thing this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, up next is the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. Could the representative from the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce please raise their hand? All right, we have Liza. Liza, you should be good to go once you unmute.
Thank you, Robert, and good evening to everyone, to the commission and the staff. My name is Lisa Navarro, and I'm the Vice President of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Silicon Valley. We've been in business and helping the community since 1982. And we've been helping small businesses throughout this pandemic as well, to answer questions regarding funding in order for them to be able to continue with their businesses as well. For this program, we are going to focus on acknowledge the shift of purchasing from small businesses into the internet age. And so we're going to be providing technical and marketing strategies for the small businesses in Milpitas in order for them to be able to do e-commerce, have an internet presence, and be able to sustain their business in other avenue. So we do partner with SBDC as well. We have Filipino American Chamber of Commerce advisors there. However, we strive to help all businesses, not just Filipino American business owners. So for this particular grant, we are requesting $10,000 to $15,000 in order to help about 10 to 15 businesses for one-on-one training, as well as providing multiple webinars for a larger audience. And thank you for your consideration.
Very much. Okay, last and certainly not least, Project Sentinel. We have the representative from Project Sentinel. Hello, Anne.
Good.
Welcome.
And I don't think Sala should feel bad at all about jumping the gun, since I jumped the gun last night at the city council meeting. So anyway, so Project Sentinel provides fair housing, housing counseling, and problem resolution related to housing issues. We investigate complaints of housing discrimination. We counsel, conciliate, and mediate housing disputes and housing problems, and we connect people with needed resources. This last category of connecting people with needed resources is something that is especially of heavy volume right now, with everybody needing rent subsidies. We're getting an increased volume of calls related to that issue. We recently distributed a housing needs survey to Milpitas residents, and we got over 300 responses, with over 100 of those responses giving their email or phone number. And we are reaching out to those people and when they have stated that they need housing assistance. I think that survey was a brilliant idea on behalf of the city, and it's working out very well. We bring resources with us to the city of Milpitas. We have a HUD grant, a multi-year HUD grant, where we are able to pull on those, combine those resources with what the city of Milpitas can provide. We also have an office at the Sobrado Center, Milpitas Center. I think I'm going to end with that and just thank the city for the past support and say that we do help the city meet their HUD requirement of affirmatively furthering fair housing. So thank you very much. And I think your cutoff time is excellent. And if only the presidential debates would use the same system. Okay, I'm finished.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, that concludes the applicant comment period. So with that, we will go back to our presentation. Just allow me a moment here. I will pull the presentation back up, and then we will move to agenda item D, which would be the commissioner discussion. Chair, if I may bring you in here, and just as a suggestion, we're very grateful for the amount of comments that we just received and the amount of applications that we just received. As a staff, we tried to put together a best guess timeline for how long we felt that the evening would go. And as you can see, we are over our projected time. As a suggestion, of course, this is completely up to you and the commission. Could we move the commission discussion to 2 minutes versus 3 minutes for each commissioner. Is that acceptable on your end, sir?
Yes, Robert, I think on behalf of that, I think we have on the 19 a more lengthy discussion of where we're going to go. Okay.
All right, so give me 1 second here and I'll pull up where we are. So you should see, let me know when you see a full slide. Is that full screen on the commissioner discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so for the commissioner discussion, you're invited to take turns providing feedback on what priorities and areas you believe the council should focus on funding. So we'll limit the comments to 2 minutes per commissioner. So some of the things that we're just asking you to consider is based on your community survey response. What do you feel is the highest or most unmet need in the Milpitas community? And we just kind of laid out some of the higher level topics for you here just as a reference point. And then within that 2 minutes, talk about why this particular priority is important to you, and where you feel some context for your survey results, basically. And then with any remaining time, any other important areas that you feel the city council should consider. And so for tonight's discussion, Chair, just so we're all on the same page, you will be discussing, sort of your answers to the community survey, and then staff is going to kind of take an aggregate of all of those, a summary of all of that, all of these discussion items, and then bring it back to you on the 19th and show you the discussion summary before we present it to the city council in May. So tonight is the discussion time. And then on the 19th, we can continue the discussion, and so much of you're going to see our summary of your discussion tonight, and then we can make adjustments as needed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, we're just going to go down the commission roster. We'll start with the chair and vice chair, and then we'll go down the commission roster. So Commissioner Leon, and I'll ask Sophia to put the timer back up just to make it easy on everybody. So I will stop sharing.
My 20 minutes.
That will do, Robert.
Okay. Just give her a minute here. Sophia, are you able? There you go. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. It is an amazing task of where we're going to go. For me, public services is a very important area that we need to look for, as well as trying to look at new opportunities for areas of special needs, especially for our special population that we have not addressed their needs prior. We need to look also for the COVID-19 effect into our service providers, and that includes looking and working with children and youth, seniors, and as well as when we look at project improvements, we need to be very careful about how we address that, because we need to be sure that we are addressing specific emergency needs due to what is happening right now and the needs of our community. There's also the third area that I will consider is the housing in regard of how to address the needs of the homeless as well as low-income seniors in our community. And I think that's something that I would look at in taking into consideration. I know that it's a very difficult task of trying to support every single one of the applicants. We love to do that, but there's a limited amount of resources, and we need to be strategically in mind to look at what are those services that we can afford to support. And again, as I mentioned, to me, public services could be number one, community facilities, and targeting special needs population, to be sure that under current circumstances, we're going to be able to provide them with what the resources they may need. Whew.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Gandhi, you are next.
Okay, so yeah, I would echo with what Commissioner Oscar was saying as well. So mainly, yeah, we will probably like to focus on public services. I think the way that Sarah mentioned out all the things based on the survey. So I would just go with those recommendations. And I think we saw about like 4 new participants this time compared to last few years. So that's also a good sign that I think our outreach is kind of working, that we were able to get 4 new applications. So, and other thing I would just mention is that, yes, we did see that the funding was only available about for 1.2 million, where total request is about for 1.8 million. So as Commissioner Leon said, we cannot basically give money to everyone, but we should just work out diligently based on the money and based on the everyone's need, so that we are able to meet everyone's expectation. That's all, Robert.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay, going down the list, we will go to Commissioner Van Landrom.
Well, first, I want to thank the staff for a wonderful and useful report on the community survey. I find that they're very, very good. I find it very good. So for me, I would focus in on 3 or possibly 4 areas. Number 1, obviously for me, is the housing need. And especially I'm really looking to have more mobile services for the homeless, and more affordable housing. I've also would suggest that we look into the need of the tenant, especially that the resident that facing eviction. I'm glad to hear that we have technology service for senior. I'm also glad to see their new application for special need. I think that really wonderful outreach from the staff. I want to focus on mental health supportive services. I also would like to focus, see the focus on the racial justice and the implicit bias awareness training, and also bystander training. That would be good, especially during this time where we have so much anti-Asian American. So those are the areas that I would like to see.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have Commissioner Batillo.
Okay, hi. Yeah, so it's actually rounding up with everybody else's as well. I'll be really quick because, of course, I want to support everybody and everything. But because of the limited resources, same thing, the public services coming out from the survey that we have. And I wasn't sure if that is including, if at all, the the food and the meals for the seniors and all. The next item that I have is housing. And the third one is because of the pandemic that most of the people are inside their homes. I was more concerned about the domestic violence and the mental health. And that's, well, and on the other side of the capital investment, of course, that I would like to support those because those are also necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Rosario, you are next. If we could just wait till the commissioner starts speaking before the timer runs. Commissioner Rosario, I see you on the list. If you could unmute. Okay, you might have some technical difficulties. Okay, so let's just keep going. We'll go to Commissioner Zong.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to thank all of the organizations for their presentations. I think this was really helpful for me to just understand all of the resources that are available. But I think one of the questions that I have, and maybe we can discuss later, is if we have all of these resources on some kind of Milpitas website where residents can access, et cetera. But beyond that, I echo the sentiments that were already expressed. I wish there was enough resources to fund all of these amazing organizations. But I think what I'm thinking about now is in the immediate needs of Milpitas residents, and especially in light of the pandemic, it's shown, or what has arisen is, housing insecurity, resources, more resources are needed in that area, food security, and especially mental health. And just based off of my immediate surroundings, my neighbors, for example, in the area that I live in, have lost their jobs and have been fluctuating in, having that security and making ends meet. And I think, if we could focus our resources in housing security and food security, I think that would be really helpful just for these immediate needs. And that's my take on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll keep going. Commissioner Casanova.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank everyone who presented today and everyone who attended. I believe it's really good that we're seeing more applicants this year than previous years. For me, the first area that I would focus on is public services, as it's important for the people of our year. And lastly, the third one would be housing for the homeless and low-income people in our community, as well as people that are about to be evicted. These are what I would take into consideration, but it's definitely really hard to fund the resources for everyone who has applied, but we'll try our best to allocate the funds.
Thank you very much. Just want one last opportunity for Commissioner Rosario, if he's able to unmute and would like to speak. I still see him on the panelist list, so I just want to make sure I afford him every opportunity to unmute and speak. Chair, with your permission, we can move forward. Doesn't appear Commissioner Rosario can unmute.
Yes, you tried twice, so let's move forward, Robert.
Okay, so that concludes agenda item D. We thank you very much for your feedback. We want to provide the public an opportunity to comment on agenda item D. So any member of the public that has not spoken on behalf of an applicant can provide public comment on agenda item D. And I'll just give it a few seconds here to see if anybody raises their hand. Again, anybody that hasn't spoken this evening. Okay, so there are no public comments on agenda item D. So that concludes the staff presentation. And what we will do is I will put the agenda back up and we will continue to item 10. If you give me a second here, I will do that. We thank all of you for your patience this evening. So you should see the agenda now.
Thank you. Let's move to item number 10, CD liaison reports. Council member Ywca, do you have any report?
Councilmember Ywca, I believe she has exited the meeting. So,
yes. Any CD staff?
There is no liaison report from city staff.
Okay. Robert, for our meeting on the 19th,
yes.
Are you going to send commissioners a brief list of all the applicants? And
yes. So we will send you the copy of the PowerPoint, and so that will have all of the applicants, and as well as the draft staff summary that will be included in the agenda report to the city council, summarizing your comments from this evening. And at the meeting on the 19th, we'll basically take a vote to make sure that the summary fairly and accurately summarizes the message of the commission as they would like it presented to the city council in May.
I know that has changed the format, but I would like to have also not only maybe an Excel sheet or something with the all the applications and the amount requested, that I can I know we're not assigning dollar number, but at least I can give us a broader perspective of our priorities that we're going to be presenting to the city council.
Absolutely, we can provide that to the commission.
Thank you. If there is nothing else to add, we are already at this point ready to adjourn. I know that
Chair,
there's a comment.
Chair, I apologize. Just a quick person in the chat here, and I think this is an important point. So the CAC meeting on the 19th is a public meeting. It's just a special meeting of the CAC. So if an applicant would like to attend that meeting, that is perfectly acceptable. It is a public meeting like this meeting is. So thank you for that question. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that yes, the 19th is a public meeting. My apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody wants to make a motion for number 11?
So this is Vishal. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight, and let's regroup for the special meeting on the 19th of this month.
Anyone wants to second the motion?
I would like to second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Tron. Before we vote, I just want to thank the staff for all the amazing presentation that you have given us today and your hard work. Commissioner Batilo, your vote?
Yes, adjourn. Thank you.
Commissioner Rosario, are you listening? Commissioner Song?
Yes.
Commissioner Casanova?
Yes.
Well, I'm missing Commissioner Batillo.
I thought you called me already. Yes.
Yes,
joined.
sorry. It was seconded by Commissioner Tron, and I vote yes also. So thank you very much for your timing. It was great, and hope to see you on the 19th for our recommendation to the city. Thank you and good evening.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Chair. Great job. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Robert. Good job.
Thank you.